Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Ethereum has rebounded exactly into this important area of resistance, but is now struggling around this area, while the price of XRP is now bouncing from oversold territories in the short term, but is now starting to form a new short-term bearish trend, while the price of Chainlink is now holding above this critical Fibonacci area on the price chart, while the price of Solana is currently rejecting from this important level of resistance. So are we talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Ethereum chart, and right now the price of ETH is technically still within a larger multi-year bull market, but of course over the last few days we have seen a major rejection from this point of resistance right here at around 4.1k. So right now 4.1k is still acting as strong resistance, and if we're looking at the daily time frame, of course that's an area of resistance in between around 3.9k to 4.1k. So right now that is still acting as strong resistance, and in fact during this larger bull market right here, while we're seeing this pullback at the moment during the larger bull run, technically speaking, of course, we've broken below this area, which was acting as support over the last couple of weeks or so, and that was sitting in between around 34.30 to 35.60, and immediately after we broke below that area right there, we dropped down towards the next area of support at just above $3,000, as I mentioned in my last video, roughly around 3,000 to 3.1k, so right around there, very close to 3.1k, that is where we bounced from, and we came back up towards this previous area of support, which is once again acting as new resistance. So this area, expect resistance for the price of ETH. But in terms of the bull market versus the bear market, we would only start technically confirming a bear market if we break below this line of support right here, and especially if we break below this low on the weekly time frame, which by the way, this line of support is currently sitting at close to 2.6k, and this low right here, if we're looking at the weekly candle closes, is sitting close to 2.3k, or if we're looking at the candle wick lows, that's sitting closer towards around 2150. And so essentially, if we start breaking below these areas on the price chart, then we can start talking about a bear market officially beginning, because of course that would be a massive change in the price structure on the larger timeframes. But for now, technically speaking, for all we know, this could just form another higher low here in the price of ETH during a multi-year bull market. And so ultimately, when it comes to the larger timeframes, we need to wait for a little longer for more confirmation on the larger timeframes. That's the nature of the larger timeframes, because we're talking about the longer term here, the much larger moves on the larger timeframes. But of course, in the short term, this already has been bearish for some time, just in the short term here, as we have been struggling from resistance right here, and of course playing out a bearish divergence on the daily Ethereum chart, which technically speaking, this bearish divergence is still currently active. And in case you're new to all of this, a bearish divergence simply means that we're likely going to see either a pullback in the price, or at the very least, just some choppy sideways price action. So essentially not really a lot of bullish momentum, and instead potentially an increased amount of bearish momentum, which we have started to see just recently. And so that's the situation for Ethereum right now. The short term is technically looking bearish as this bearish divergence is playing out. And of course, while the price is rejecting from resistance and breaking below support, that is bearish price structure, at least in the short term here. But technically speaking, it is still possible we can remain within the larger bull market here for as long as we're not breaking below these critical levels on the larger timeframes. And in case you're wondering, if we actually break below this area of support on the daily time frame in between around 3,000 to 3.1k, then in that case, the next area of support to the downside, at least on the daily time frame, is sitting at around 2.7k to 2.8k, and below that we have significant support down here in between around 2.2k to 2,350 approximately. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the weekly time frame, right now, as of recording this video, Chainlink is actually trading back above the golden pocket area of previous resistance, which could now be acting as a bit of support, and that's sitting in between around $21 to $23. And so, of course, it is good to see the price of Chainlink trading back above this golden pocket. And in case you're wondering, the next weekly candle close confirms in around 1.5 days from now. And so for as long as the price of Chainlink confirms that weekly candle close in 1.5 days above around $23. Technically speaking, we're still looking okay on the larger time frames when we're talking about the much larger bullish moves here. Of course, during these larger bullish moves, we can see short-term dumps, as I've explained many times here on the channel, just like how during a larger bear market, we can see short-term pumps along the way down. And so that's potentially the situation right now, a short-term dump during a larger bull run, unless we start confirming candle closes on the weekly time frame well below $21, because in that case, of course, there'll be a larger bearish signal on the weekly time frame, pointing towards potentially a larger correction over a period of weeks or possibly months. But for now, of course, we're still waiting for that confirmation in a day and a half from now at that next weekly candle close. But even if we hold above this golden pocket, of course, we still have a lot of resistance at this 78.6% Fibonacci level of resistance, sitting close to $31. And of course, we rejected from pretty much exactly $31, very close to that Fibonacci level. And also just above that level, we have more resistance based on these previous highs at around $34. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Chainlink chart, of course, as of recording this video, just like the price trading back above the golden pocket, the price is also slightly trading above this neckline right here for this cup and handle pattern, which is technically a good sign to see. But once again, we're still waiting for that confirmation at that next weekly candle close in around a day and a half from now. So for all we know, of course, the weekly candle close could end up confirming below that line or above that line. We simply just have to wait and see in a day and a half from now. And of course, as I've explained recently here on the channel, if the price of Chainlink confirms the weekly candle close below around $23, technically speaking, that will invalidate this pattern right here and invalidate the price target for the pattern. And so that would definitely be something to watch out for in the coming days. So right now, Chainlink is basically at a make or break moment, at least on this weekly time frame right here when we're talking about the short to midterm. And if we're zooming into the short term, looking at the 4-hour time frame, of course, we did end up seeing that bounce, that bullish relief from oversold territories, which I talked about in my last video. Because obviously, if you watched my last altcoin video just yesterday, you'll know that I talked about this oversold signal telling us that it's very, very likely that very, very soon, potentially over the next day or so, it's likely we're going to see a bit of a bounce or some sort of relief and basically a break from all of this bearish price action right here, which has played out pretty much exactly as expected. But obviously, while the price of Chainlink is playing out this bounce here in the short term, this is helping to reset the RSI back to the upside out of those oversold territories, back up towards more neutral levels, which technically gives us more room to the downside right now. And so the price of Chainlink has effectively already played out that short-term bullish relief that was expected from that oversold signal. So that's already played out right now. And just be aware of the fact that we do now have a little bit more room to the downside again here in the RSI. So overall, technically speaking, the short-term situation is still looking more bearish than bullish, especially with this bearish divergence technically not confirmed an invalidation signal, meaning the bearish divergence is still playing out. And so in order to flip more bullish again in the short term for the price of Chainlink, I'd like to see either higher lows and higher highs begin to form, ideally in both the price and the RSI. And with the RSI breaking out above this descending line of resistance right here in order to invalidate this bearish divergence, or even better, if we confirm some sort of bullish divergence with a lower low in the price and a higher low in the RSI, that would also help to invalidate this bearish divergence if we confirm a new bullish divergence. But for now, we're still waiting for those signals to actually confirm. Obviously, as of right now, technically the short-term situation is looking a little bit more bearish than it is bullish. And if we're zooming out to the longer term, once again, the weekly time frame, we're still waiting for confirmation at that next weekly candle close. But if you want to actually trade these moves in the price of any crypto, personally, I take a lot of my trades right now over on BTNX. So make sure to leave a link to BTNX below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here, which is an exclusive deposit bonus that you can only claim using that link. So if you simply just click that link to make your account and then deposit $100 worth of crypto and start trading, you get a $20 bonus. Or if you deposit 500 USDT and start trading, you get a $100 bonus. Or if you deposit just 1,000 USDT and start trading, you get $200 into your new account. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, first link below this video. And in case you're wondering, BitNex is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But for whatever reason, if you don't want BitNex, there is also Bybit as another exchange out there, another option that I also trade on as well. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit below this video. And if you use that link, you can claim a 500 USDT position airdrop. So basically a free $500 trade as your first trade over on Bybit, but that's only available if you use the link below this video to make your Bybit account and deposit on that account. But with that being said, taking a look at this XRP chart on the weekly time frame, and right now XRP is still trading in between $2 and $3. So of course, as I've explained here on the channel, even before we saw this rejection, we have a lot of resistance at just around $3. So really in between around $2.90 to $3, we have a lot of resistance right there based on this Fibonacci extension at very close to $3. And we also have a lot of support right here based on this previous level of resistance, this previous high currently acting as new support at pretty much exactly $2. So that is the situation for XRP on the larger time frames. We're chopping around between support and resistance. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, looking at the 4-hour time frame, of course, right now the price of XRP is actually bouncing from oversold territories on the 4-hour time frame, very similar to Chainlink. And while the price of XRP is playing out this short-term bounce, this oversold signal right here, currently the price of XRP is forming a descending parallel channel. So essentially a short-term bearish trend with lower highs and lower lows. As of right now, that is the current situation. The price of XRP is trending in the bearish direction, at least slightly in the short term here. And usually during these descending parallel channels, the price of XRP or the price of really any crypto during these type of patterns tends to gravitate towards the center line for this pattern right here. As we can see, the price often finds resistance around the center line and also support around the center line. So the price just gravitates to that area. And right now, this center line is sitting at approximately $2.27. And in case you're wondering, the line of support for this parallel channel is sitting at around $1.95, and the line of resistance for the parallel channel is sitting at around $2.65. And so I'll be paying attention to this channel right here and the RSI on the 4-hour time frame, because over the last 1 week or so, these have actually been relatively accurate. Obviously, looking at the past right here, we can see basically any time where the price got close towards the top side of this parallel channel at the same time as when the RSI got close towards overbought territories, those were times telling us that we're about to potentially see a bit of a drawdown very soon. And then vice versa, when the price of XRP enters into the lower half of this parallel channel at the same time as the RSI getting close to oversold territories, that's telling us we're due to see some sort of bounce very soon back up towards that center line. So this is the current situation in the short term for the price of XRP. And of course, we can potentially use this as a trading strategy. For example, selling or shorting it close to this line of resistance, or when the RSI gets close to overbought, and then buying or longing at close to support right here, or when the RSI gets close to oversold. That is a potential trading strategy which would have worked very well over the last 1 week or so, and will likely continue to work for at least the next few days, possibly another 1 or 2 weeks here. But with that being said, if we're taking a quick look at the XRP Bitcoin chart, this is XRP versus Bitcoin on the weekly time frame. As of right now, XRP is still repeating history, still seeing very similar price action right now on this chart compared to what we saw in early 2021. And obviously, I've been talking about this chart for pretty much around a month now on the channel since much lower prices. And so first of all, when this chart was back down here, I said this chart is basically repeating history, playing out a massive double bottom, and will likely go up towards this area of resistance before stopping and turning around. That's what I said right here. And I gave that opportunity to potentially double whatever your Bitcoin holdings are. So essentially, if you swapped your Bitcoin into XRP right here, and then essentially held that XRP up towards this resistance and then swap that XRP back into Bitcoin, you would have basically doubled whatever Bitcoin you were originally holding. And so obviously I shared that trading strategy here on the channel before it happened. And as I've talked about over the last 1 to 2 weeks here, the trade is already over. We've now rejected from this major area of resistance on the XRP BTC chart on the weekly time frame. And so as I've said over the last 1 to 2 weeks or so, it's very likely that the price of XRP will no longer significantly outperform the price of Bitcoin, at least in the somewhat short to midterm here, talking about a number of weeks or possibly months. And now, of course, there can be some days here and there where the price of XRP might do a little bit better than what Bitcoin is doing, but I'm talking about significantly outperform Bitcoin like what we saw here over the last 1 to 2 months or so. It's unlikely we'll see that again, at least for the next few weeks or months. And if we're taking a quick look at the price of Solana on the 8-hour time frame, obviously Solana is clearly looking bearish right now. We're clearly trending in the bearish direction, forming lower highs and lower lows. And of course, we've broken below this key level of support, which was sitting at around $205. So really in between around 200 to 210, we did have a lot of support right there. So the moment we broke below that area, that was bad news here in the short term. And immediately the price basically dropped straight down towards this next support at around $180, give or take. And so right around that 180 level, we do have some support right there. But if we were to see a confirmed breakback below 180, then in that case, the next area of support to the downside is sitting in between around 155 to 161 approximately as the next area of support below 180. But obviously, over the last 1 day, we did see a bit of a bounce at close to $180, give or take. But right now, as of recording this video, the price of Solana is rejecting from this previous area of support, now acting as new resistance. And once again, that was sitting in between around 200 to 210, with the main level sitting at close to 205. And right now, that is acting as new resistance. As of recording this video, the price of Solana is rejecting from just above $200, as we can see. And so ultimately, Solana is simply still looking bearish in the short term. Clearly, this is a bearish trend, forming lower highs and lower lows, as I've been saying for weeks now on the channel. And in order to flip more bullish again, first of all, I'd like to, at the very least, see a breakout back above around $210, but ideally a breakout back above $232 and at least above around $222 in order to start flipping more bullish again, and ideally forming higher lows and higher highs. Those are the signals I'll be watching out for to flip more bullish again on Solana. But for now, obviously, the current situation is simply bearish, at least in the shorter term, talking about the coming days or possibly weeks. But believe it or not, you can profit during the bearish price action using things like short positions, for example, to profit along the way to the downside. So as crypto traders, all you need to know is simply just their entry into a trade and their exit out of a trade in order to make profit in crypto, no matter if the price is bullish or bearish. And once again, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out those links below this video to claim those extra bonuses over on those exchanges. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, you can profit from all of that price action by watching these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions. And the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.